Thank you, Bill. Passionate man. Can you tell he's a coach? I wanted to put some tennis shoes on. Well, that wasn't my game. I mean, I had to talk about it. Thank you, Bill. I'd like to introduce Mr. Zach Williams and talk about some of the finances from PMI.
Okay, thank you. My presentation is not as exciting as his was, but my name is Zach Williams. I work at Public Financial Management. We're the district's independent financial advisor. So what that means is simple. It's our job to find the lowest cost of financing for this project. And when you do a project of this size, which we'll talk about in a second, you borrow money. Typically, it's very common in Pennsylvania for school districts to borrow money. So that's what that's what we'll be helping the district with. The first slide, if you could click to it, what this is an interest rate chart. So when we would go out into the market and we borrow what we call a general obligation bond issue to fund this project, it's based on interest rates, just like if you're going to buy a house and take out a mortgage. What this chart is meant to show you is that while we're not at the lowest point in history, which we were back in 2013, interest rates are still at very, very low levels. We call them historically low levels. So what that means is, while there's never a great time for a project like this, there is a right time for a project like this, and now is that time. The second slide here, we're going to talk about the cost difference between a renovation and the new building project. As I said, we would probably do a general obligation bond issue. That's been determined to be the lowest cost of financing for this project. We would likely borrow the money over 3 periods, 3 steps, which would help coincide with what we call the draw schedule or the construction schedule of the project, which would take place over a 2 to 3 year period. And by borrowing in 3 phases, it would also help phase in the millage impact, okay? Because there is going to be a cost to this when you borrow this money, and we want to phase that in over a 3 or 4 year period so that it's a little more gradual of an increase. The bond issues would be issued with a call feature. So what that means is in the future, similar to your home mortgage, you're going to be able to refinance this debt. For interest rate savings, hopefully you can even pay it off early, just like you could mortgage, if the district has available funds to do that. So there is flexibility built into these bond issues in the future. And then lastly, there is some operational savings in state reimbursement, which we'll talk about in the below red and blue boxes, available to help offset some of these costs. So on the red, in the renovation, we're estimating we need to borrow about $30.6 million in order to renovate the school to keep it kind of up and running at adequate standards. The average annual payment, which would essentially be the annual mortgage payment of the debt, would be about $1.7 million. It's estimated that about $200,000 of state reimbursement can be achieved through this project. So that would be, help to offset the payment. So the net payment below there you see is about $1.5 million. We have no operational savings associated with the renovation, which we do for the new building. So your estimated net payment is about $1.5 million. So what that translates to is an estimated millage equivalent of about 2.8 mils in order to take this building and renovate it again. Okay. If you go with the new building option, we're estimating it's going to cost about $44.5 million. The average annual mortgage payment, about $2.5 million. Then when you take out the state aid, we're estimating at $223,000, and the operational savings of $200,000. You're left with the net payment of $2.1 million, which translates into 4.16 mils. So the difference between the renovation and the new building is about 1.3 mils in order to have a new building, the building that you see in all these pictures. Okay, so that's what we're estimating currently. Again, there's never a right time, never a great time to do a project like this, but there is a right time, and interest rates are at historically low levels, so it's the right time. Thank you.